Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. I am here with Collin Frangie, who is an account executive with Ticor Title. Collin, how you doing today?
Great. It's a beautiful day. Thanks for having me on, Joe.
Hey, it is a beautiful day. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Collin, you and I were talking a while back about putting together a client database, a CRM, and you built one, and I want to talk to you about that today. Tell me about that and tell me how you did it, and let's get into that.
Sounds great. Yeah, databases. I think it's a cornerstone of my business. And I didn't build a CRM. That would actually require some type of software programming skills. I just merely built the database by collecting uh, thousands of pieces of information from different prospective clients and clients. I didn't know anyone when I moved out to Orange County. I had to build everything from the ground up. I'm in title sales, so real estate agents are my clients, and not knowing anyone kind of put me at a disadvantage to some extent. But in my mind, it afforded me the opportunity to build it from the ground up, which is how I did it. I started one by one. Every single person I met from the very beginning, whether they're in escrow, home warranty insurance, real estate, I would collect their business card, go home every single night, and simply put it into an Excel file because I didn't have enough money for a CRM at that point. I was pretty much dead broke. I spent all my money on my last Europe trip with my girlfriend at the time, and I came back and I think I had $500 to my name, and my company gave me about $1,000 a month for as a draw against my commissions that I didn't have yet. And so I didn't have the money for a robust CRM. I had to work with what I had, which was Microsoft. And so I used Excel and created what I thought would be like the best outlook for a database after working for Apple and using their database. And so I built it, put all their information in.
Before we go any farther, you tell me about that really quickly, and that kind of slid by us. But what were you doing before you got into the title business?
So I worked for Apple doing business-to-business sales and also in-store support. And I got to use one of their CRMs, which they use for all their stores and all their business clients. And so my job was to take the information that I got from a business client in store, and then after I was done on the floor, go into the back, they call it the back of house, and input the information into the CRM. And then I was responsible for following up with that client and seeing if they had any other questions for what we were talking about in the store, and if their company needed a large amount of computers, essentially. And this kind of got me into the habit of putting information into a CRM. And it built, I think, the foundation for what I do now. And it's definitely irreplaceable experience that I still use every day. It's, I worked there for about a year, and yeah, it was amazing.
That's a good background, and that's a good background check to parlay into, why you had the ability and where you got to build that from scratch, and how you built that database to really help you in your business. So keep going.
So with the databases now, right? I've almost met everyone that I come into contact physically on a daily basis, making calls, going from office to office. The same agents relatively are in the office, and a lot of agents are not in the office. So now my job is to build those relationships over the phone, and even though I'm not meeting them in person, I'm still getting as much information as I possibly can, and combining that with some stuff in social media that I could get from their profiles to formulate that into a database. And what I do with that database is I take it and I use it to prioritize my day, right? Who haven't I contacted in the last 10 to 15 days? I can see that in my CRM now that, I'm not completely poor anymore. After doing this for 7 years, that I put everything from Excel into CRM, and I've organized it so that I could see when I need to touch clients. And every single day I wake up and my CRM tells me who I need to reach out to based upon when I contacted them last. And, that's organized in a way of A, B, and C. A are the most likely to refer me. B is the second most likely to refer me. C is the third most likely to refer me. And that's how I categorize people. And my goal is to move everyone that is a C to an A and B to an A, and keep the A's, obviously. Most of my A's are my active clients. Those are the people that are, consistently giving me business. And the B's are essentially, they give me a deal here or there, and C's have talked about giving me a deal, but might need more work. And that's how I organize my CRM currently. And it's definitely helped a lot. It's nice being able to wake up every morning and know who I need to talk to.
So at the end of the year and before COVID and all of that, there was a new segment that you wanted to, for lack of a better word, go after.
Right.
And
yes.
And you can go down, you can buy that database, or you can build it from scratch. And you and I had several conversations about the benefits of really doing that detective work and building it from scratch. And tell me about that process and how you came about to, where you got the information, how you built it, and how that's going for you 6 months later.
So the most recent database that I put together was designated trustees. Mm-hmm. And those are professional fiduciaries. And so I've done two things with that database. Number one, I looked everyone's name up online, because all the professional fiduciaries are online. And then I put it into an Excel file, and I looked up all their information online. And then I started making calls. Everyone that I could get a hold of and contact and have a good rapport with, I kept in my database. And everyone that I didn't, I just got rid of. So that's a little bit different, just because there's not a designated crossing path with those individuals. It's harder to get a hold of them at their office or meet them in person. So I just kind of went from the grassroots and looked up all their information online, and have just been building rapport over the phone. And then the other database that I've been building is probate attorneys. So with probate attorneys, I've been making office calls, and I've been using other probate attorneys that I know to get other people's information, and then reaching out to them, setting up appointments. So it's a little bit different. It's both of those databases are founded in a different way. But it all kind of revolves around creating the Excel file, which those two databases are still in Excel, right, because they haven't started coming to fruition yet. I have about 3 of them that have, but as they start to nurture, I'll move them into my CRM.
Beautiful. And what's the benefit of, you can go out and buy a database.
Right.
What's your thoughts on what's the benefit of creating this thing on your own versus going out and just buying it and uploading it into your computer?
Well, I think that with actually creating the database and finding the people, whether it be in person or over the phone, you build an attachment to them, and you know who they are just by looking at them, or there's a different connection you have. You want you have more of an attachment to them, and especially if you meet them in person. If you meet someone in person and then are able to put them in your database, the care is higher, right? You care more about the outcome of that relationship, in my mind, because you know who they are, you've met them. And it's definitely a benefit to build it one by one by yourself compared to having someone else build it. Because you put all this time, effort, and energy into this database of either collecting the names or information, or going out and meeting them, that you care so much more about the database. And you want to make sure that, your database is kept up.
So it's kind of like, we compare it to a garden where you're weeding the garden and keeping the weeds out, and adding good nutrients along the way. And you're just spending a lot of time and discipline on adding those folks at the beginning or at the end of each day. And it's an ongoing fluid process that just never ends, right?
It never ends. And I do it right away now. So with my CRM, I could just add them. If I meet someone in person, I could just add them right away. It's kind of like a contact list. And so I right away input that into my CRM, assign them to a category, and get a first touch in, and then assign like calendar of when I'm going to be contacting them. And the fact that when I put them in, I know what I'm looking for now, right? I'm looking for their name to come up in my CRM. And when I do, I'm like, oh, that was a good interaction. Like, I need to go ahead and press further there.
So you're making notes along the way in your CRM on what the
right
are for that particular person.
Whenever I have a really good interaction, I make sure to put it in there and then talk about what that interaction was about. Not like I'm going to look at the CRM every single time I talk to them, because that's not possible. But I know, like, as a mental note, I'm going to remember that better.
Which brings me, before we close it out, which brings me to that other thing is when you've got that, what I call that intimate knowledge of your database.
Yes.
And you don't have to refer, you can, it's more on the fly. It's like, you know who you're talking to, what you've entered before, that person a little bit better because you're the person who entered it. You're the person who nurtured it. You're the person who took care of it along the way.
100%. That's very well put. It's an intimate knowledge about that contact that that keeps you connected with it. Absolutely.
And then one other thing, and we don't have the time to go into a total marketing, but your CRM really, does that assist you in your marketing efforts too, and to where you can, hit them all at once, for example, on a timely basis? And are you doing any of that?
Yes, I do take my database that's in my CRM and export it to a CSV file, and then upload it into like a mass marketing program to send out emails and text messages. So it does help. Just having everything really formatted well makes it very easy to market on a mass level, and also to send out birthday cards and holiday cards. My database is just built in right there so that I can make that easy transition.
So before we shut down, Collin, this afternoon, anything you want to add to what you've got going on with that?
Oh, man. I mean, you covered most of the basis. That's pretty much it. The other thing that I really use my database for when I do events as well. So I'll line up with speakers like probate attorneys, family law attorneys. So I have that database already. And when I'm talking to those attorneys, to be able to say that I have over 1,000 agents in my database that would love to hear you speak.
Right.
Would you like to do a seminar? They jump at it. And I could take that database, upload it into Facebook and target market them, and also send out a mass emailer. And it's a huge way to build relationships. Well,
that's cool. Hey, Collin, I want to thank you. You've done a terrific job. You've shared some really valuable information with us, and you're knocking them dead out there. I really appreciate the work that you're doing. I admire that. And, hey, good information. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, man. Charge on.